Here we go. Time for some guitar. Make sure this is going to open up correctly. Yeah, looks like we got a good connection. So let me go post this link over on our website. The website is denverguitarorchestra.com. And there we've got 3 levels. Well, really, it's a 4-level system. The book 1 is, and 2 are how to play guitar. Book 3 is actually playing guitar, and book 4 is actually playing guitar on songs that you really wish you had started with. So yeah, so glad you're here. I am going to finish getting this posted here. Update, bold, update. So that should get the link headed this direction. And while that's reloading, I'm going to post this on Twitter because that's one of the unnecessary things I do. DenverGuitarOrchestra.com. I got home this afternoon. I fell asleep on the couch and I feel sort of like I just came out of another world. So hopefully I will get my act together here in a minute or two, and I will be less goofy. All right, so the page is renewed, so let's double check that the link is working. I have 3 sections on the front page: the good orchestra stuff on Tuesday, our online study on Wednesday, and then our in-person study on Thursdays. So that's what we got going on here. Everything looks good. Linda is in. You can hear me, and some fuzziness. The fuzziness may be related to the computer because its fan is running for some reason. So you might be hearing the fan in the background. That would be my guess. Let me see if I can make a couple of adjustments here. I also may be in front of my own microphone. Sandy's here. Hey, Sandy. 38 degrees, fall colors at about 20%. Wow, gosh, was it 2 years ago? 3? I don't know. 100 years ago, we drove through Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont to see the colors, Sandy, and it is so like in Colorado we have yellow leaves when the aspens turn, which is in and of itself kind of a fun thing to do, but it's a whole other level of crazy out where you are. So I am super jealous that you're getting in the middle of fall colors. How exciting, right? Vic is in. Hey, Vic. She's in from Eugene. 60 and rainy, nice tomorrow. Linda, you'll take it, right? Yeah. Okay, so here we are with guitar. Let's see. By the way, thank the 3 of you. We have a few other people online, but thank you for the 3 of you continuing to battle it out with the orchestra. I think the benefit of, like, it's a little weird that you're playing with an orchestra online, but if I was at a place when I was getting started, or when I'm even now, anytime I got a chance to play with other people in sort of a non-threatening environment, man, I would jump on it. And as I'm going through school now, and we get to play with other guitarists, whether I, like today went, like, things have been going pretty well, honestly, and then today was not good, and just who knows what, one day it was going well, one day it's not. I think that, however, though, that just that experience of playing with other people is so valuable to me, and I hope you guys are finding it that way as well. All right, on to the topic at hand. Frère Jacques. I know sometimes you guys probably are like, I don't know what his deal is with this Frère Jacques business, but we're going to play it anyway. So we are on guitar in first position. Those of you who are new, or if you're watching the recording of the stream, this is important stuff we're covering here. Okay, so let's revisit the main stuff we have to talk about. 1, guitar is being held in a fashion where this is at a 45, 50, 60 degree angle, something like that. probably between your legs. This, when we have it horizontal, that's not ideal. Working a lot harder than we need to. Second thing is thumb. I don't know that you own a thumb. Your thumb just rides right along the neck, right behind your middle finger. And then finally, most importantly, Eddie. 8. Dynamite. Good. Bye. Eddie. So the machine says I'm right, but we always double check. Use your 5th fret. 5th fret, 6th string. Should sound the same as the one below it. 5th fret, 5th string. Sound the same as the one below it. 5th fret, 4th string. As you change on a classical guitar, when you switch from the metal string to the plastic string, sometimes it's hard to tell if they're the same or not. 4th fret on the 3rd string. That's the one that's different. Same as the one below it. And then 5th fret, 2nd string. Now you're into relative. You use the machine to get you close, and then you use your ears to get you dead on exact. And so I do that 100% of the time when on every guitar. Tune it up, then double check that I'm in relative tuning. This week you guys were working on Frère, Jacques. That's the 2nd song in book 1. Let's go over and make sure everything's clear. A chord, index, middle, and ring. Okay. Everybody's crammed in the 2nd fret. You're on strings 4, 3, and 2. Okay, and then hopefully as you're looking at the little diagram on the paper, that's starting to make sense. In face-to-face class last week, we were doing some A chord, and it can be confusing when you first start looking at chord charts, like what am I supposed to do here? So hopefully that makes sense. And remember, if you hit the 6th string, it's fine, but we're really just wanting to hit strings 5 down. Okay. Now, we have a very sad thing that's about to happen. I'm going to sing, and you're going to either strum 1, 2, 3, 4, or better, you're going to pluck any 4 strings, 1, 2, 3, 4, or you're going to arpeggiate 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and, whoops, I shouldn't do it that way, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay, any of those is perfectly great. We're going to go through it twice, okay, so we're going to go play down to measure 8, go back to measure 1, play through it again. Let's make sure that you switch whichever pattern you're doing the first time through, switch it to one of the others the second time through. From the top, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Frère, Jacques, Frère, Jacques, dormez-vous, dormez-vous, sonnez les matines, sonnez les matines, ding, ding, dong, ding, ding, dong, to the top. Are you sleeping? Are you sleeping? Brother John, Brother John. Morning bells are ringing, morning bells are ringing, ding, dang, dong, ding, dang, dong. Whatever chord you're holding at the end of the song, you just hold on to that until your guitar shuts up, or until you take your palm, the heel of your palm, and you slide that up over the top of the saddle here. So start it at the bottom of the bridge, and then just slide it up. And that way you have some control over how quickly the sound fades away. All right, there's your chord. A chord is a big deal. You're going to play A chord every single time you play guitar ever in your life. And so get that one memorized. So now you have 2 chords memorized, E chord and A chord. Okay? And the cool part about them, if you put A and then go to E and then back to A, now you have half of book 2 done. Not half, but it comes up a lot in book 2. All right, now let's talk about the melody. This is the next really, really big deal. This is the only thing that you really have to have gotten done this week, and so let's see how we're going to do it. I don't, at this point, I don't care if you just use your middle finger and just play the 2s, and then use your ring finger to play the 3s, or if you grab the chord shape and then make modifications to that. Either way, when we get to Farmer in the Dell today, that's exactly what we're going to do, is modify chord shapes. Okay, but for now, let's just play it just with your middle finger and your ring finger and call it good. Okay, so from the top, nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, play. 2, oh, 2, 2, 2, oh, 2, 2, 2, 3, oh, 2, 3, oh, oh, 2, oh, 3, 2, 2, oh, 2, oh, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, second ending, 2, 2, 2, and then just let it ring. It's got to last 6 beats. Man, most guitars will last 6 beats. Okay, all right, that's the melody. Big takeaway here is now, instead of like with Brother John in the first song we did, where we're running up and down the neck, doing a lot of extra motion because of the key it's in, now we're trying to hang out just here in one spot and have way less jumping all around the guitar and getting the same song out. And that should send the message, hey, some keys are going to be easier than others when it comes to fitting them onto the guitar. And in piano, we don't worry about that. And the difference between E chord and A chord, right, is here, right? So any key is fine on the piano. But on guitar, some keys are going to work way better than others. And in this case, if you had to pick either the song we were working on last week or this version, you for sure would pick this version because it's all right here. Unless you're trying to be cool, you don't want to be moving up and down the neck. When you get your electric guitar and you start playing heavy metal, you're going to want to play down here and then up here and all that because it's fun. But really, it's a lot of work. And you'll see classical guitar players doing the same thing. They play here and then their hair and hair all over this stuff using their full fretboard. But in terms of just getting going in the beginning, honestly, we're going to work on a lot of work here just in first position, second position. We'll spend a lot of time on those two, less so on some of these other positions. Now, I'm going to play the tough act. Those of you guys who've been around a while know how to do this, but we're really going to study that in the next song. So let's just, if you are up for playing tough acts, let's do it. Otherwise, you're going to hear what we're going to be working on next. The big takeaway on tough acts is the melody is exactly the same. It's the top note of every single moment in the tough acts line. You'll notice is exactly the same note as you just played in the melody. But underneath every other note we're dropping in, every other beat basically, we're dropping in the chord. Okay, and that way we're playing the chord and the melody at the same time, and nobody has to listen to me sing, and it's a great thing. Okay, so from the top, probably just thumb down. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. stop it. So what we're doing is we're taking that melody and then just dropping chords in underneath some of the melody notes. Okay, so that's what Tough X is ultimately going to be, is just playing the melody but adding in some chords underneath it. All right, let's go take a look at our real lesson today. Okay, this will be the song for your week, Farmer in the Dell. It's a dumb song, guys. I'm very clear on that. But let's play it one through. Let's always, when you attack a piece of paper that I've handed you, one, you're going to want to play the chords, make sure you know what they are. Two, you want to play the melody, and then you dig into the Tough X. Don't just jump straight to Tough X. That's obviously what you want to play. That's the good stuff. But we can make that a whole lot easier on ourselves by studying the pieces and parts that are going to put that together. So first, A chord. Big challenge with Farmer in the Dell is we are not in 4 beats per measure here. We are in 6 beats per measure. The farmer in the dell. Whoops. The farmer in the that's 6. Dell 2, 3, 4 the and the 5 the. How'd I do that? Dell 2, 3, 4 rest. The farmer in the dell 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's really complicated to count things that way. So in 6/8 we usually just count in 2. Okay, 1 2 3 2 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2. And certainly in the beginning, that's how you always count 6/8 is 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, or 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. But you're thinking about it as 2 beats with a bunch of stuff in between them, and this feeling of a 2-beat thing makes a whole lot of sense. The farmer in the dell, plunk. The farmer in the dell, rest. Hi ho the dairy-o, the farmer in the dell, plunk. It just gives you, when you can get the rhythmic value together on the song, which you usually do through chords, and then a whole bunch of other stuff will just magically line up when you get to melody. Okay, so grab your A chord again. Okay, we do 2 songs in A. That should tell you how important A is. Okay, and then you're gonna pluck. We're gonna pluck. Okay, so thumb on the A string. Since it's an A chord, putting your thumb on the A string makes the most sense. And then these 3 fingers, I would put them on strings 3, 2, and 1. Remember, your thumb's going down and your other fingers are coming up. You don't want to do this, bringing it way out, right? And just try to collapse your knuckles. So these knuckles are collapsing, and then this knuckle is collapsing. Okay, keep it simple. Try not to have your hand move hardly at all. Play as loud as you can. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2. The farmer in the dell. The farmer in the dell. Hi-ho, the dairy-o. The farmer in the dell. Again. Farmer takes a wife. The farmer takes a wife. Hi-ho, the dairy-o. The farmer takes a wife. Okay, so again, we're working on making sure our A chord is solid, making sure these fingers are starting to get comfortable doing that activity. That's actually harder than you'd think. If you wanted to do it in 6, you could do thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it's fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The farmer in the dell. The farmer in the dell. Hi-ho, the dairy-o. The farmer in the dell. Okay, so fancy, right? It actually starts to sound like kind of a cool song if you do stuff like that. All right, so there's your A chord. We've got a basic sense of how the music's going to flow together. Now let's go take a look at the melody. But, well, one, look through the melody and you see everything's a 2 or a 0. That's like, oh, how many more times in my life am I going to get that lucky with a song? Everything's a 2 or a 0. There are no other notes. And so rather than using our middle finger and having it go from string to string to string, let's just put on the A chord right now. Just put it on right now, okay? Now, you're holding down all of the 2s, except we're going to need a 2 here eventually, and we'll probably just drop our ring finger down to get that 2 when it's time. But you've got all of the 2s covered. If there's a 0 that comes by, we're just going to lift up our ring finger. These 2 fingers, index and middle, are never going to move. They're never going to move this whole entire time. They're just going to be hanging out, right? Okay, so they're going to be on those 2s for the whole time. Now let's play the melody. All you have to do is make sure that you're on the right string. So you're starting on string 4, and let's play. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Now lift up your ring finger and then put it back. Oh, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. First string. Oh, use your ring finger here. 2, oh, and put it back. 2, 2. Lift it up. Oh, 2, 2. Oh, 2. Let's do the whole thing again. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Oh, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Oh, 2, oh, 2, 2. Oh, 2, 2. Second ending. Oh, 2. Okay, and then that was the cheese standing alone, right? So now, your job this week is to play the melody, but plant these 2 fingers. Okay, so your ring finger is going to do all the work here on the whole song, and your job is just to get it as nice and smooth as possible. This, it turns out, is incredibly important for everything else that goes after this. If you can get where you're comfortable putting these 2 on, leaving them on, and moving your ring finger around to get the melody, that and moving your pinky around will be the main things that we have to do going forward in all of guitar. Okay? Now, here's where we drop you into tough acts. The other job for you this week. So you already know how to play an A chord. You just learned how to play the melody by anchoring these 2 fingers and just using your ring finger. Now the other thing is tough acts. So let's go through that. Put your whole A chord on. First note's a 2 by itself. So play that. And then it's 0, 2, 2. So that's strings 5, 4, and 3. So let's do a little strum there. And then you have 3 2s in a row, so play those. And then you're going to do another little strum over strings 5, 4, and 3. And then you have 2 decorative notes, a 2 and a 0. Just pluck the 4th string and the 5th string. Now you have a 0 on the 5th string, but remember your ring finger's down, so you need to lift it up, hit the 0, and then put it right back down and strum 0, 2, 2 on strings 5, 4, 3, 2. And then a bunch of 2s after that. And then another strum on strings 5, 4, 3, and 2. You have 2 decorative notes there, just hit those. 2, 2. And then you have this big beautiful strum at 5, hit that. Okay, and then another 0. Ring finger to grab the 2. And then put it right back on your A chord. And then 2, 2. Now you have an open second string, so lift your ring finger up. Put it back down. Lift it up to get the 0, 0, 2, 2, 0. Isn't that a cool chord, by the way? And then 0, 2, 2. Now you have 2 decorative notes and an open, so you haven't even put your ring finger down yet. And then go grab the 2 on the 3rd string. The end of measure 8, you have a little 2 hanging out there. That's your pickup note to go back to the top. And then let's play from the top. Ready? The farmer man. so goals this week. You already know A chord. Play the melody with your anchored, these two fingers anchored, and then try tough X. Okay, tough X is chord melody. If you go on the internet and you type in guitar, chord melody, guitar, everybody will be playing in that fashion, putting chords and melody together in some very pleasing way on popular tunes. Okay, and the difference between chord melody or fingerstyle guitar is the other phrase they use, and chord melody, tough X, and fingerstyle are all the same thing, more or less. The only difference between that and classical is in classical we don't get so fixated on getting the chord on, whereas in this style of play we definitely are focused around the chord, getting the chord in place, and then playing the melody notes we can reach to. In classical, you put parts of chords on in a more strategic fashion. All right, so that's your homework for the week. Book 1 complete. Took a little bit longer than I wanted to. All right, let's go play book 2. But Deo was our song of the week. Deo. This is probably the hardest song in book 2. Let's play down to measure 24 and come back and play the whole song a second time. Okay, let's see how we do. We're strumming twice per measure. Oh yeah, sorry, Linda, I missed that question. So Farmer in the Dell is in 6/8, right? So yeah, twice per measure. The farmer in the dell, the farmer in the dell. 6/8 we always count in 2, always, until you get to more advanced stuff, right? But the idea with 6/8 is it's 1 2 3 1 2 3. So you really are dividing that measure into 2 beats, okay? And yeah, so that's how that goes. Okay. Thanks for asking that question. Sorry I missed it earlier. All right, guitar, book 2, Deo. All right, now this song requires all of my focus, so I won't be talking. This is kind of a hard song, right? Your 2 chords are D, right? D into A. It's all book 1 chords, okay? And remember, this is not Harry Belafonte's version. This is our version. From the top, I'm going to play tough X 2 times through. 1, 2, 3, 4. Page turner didn't go. anytime you've got this. Yeah, right, you can see me fighting my whole body trying to get it into position. So that's actually a very hard chord. We've been using that one in orchestra a lot. That's a D chord. All this really is your E chord all the way up on 10. And so that's what's going on there. That's a fun song. And then that one is Row, Row, Row Your Boat on steroids. I mean, every single thing that's going on in that song goes on in Row, Row, Row Your Boat, just in a lot more complicated fashion. So next week we'll be diving into Row, Row, Row Your Boat, and you'll see all of the similarities. There's a D chord down here, a D chord up here, and then the only difference on this song is we're tossing in an A chord. So kind of a fun song, very hard to play. So it's the hardest song, I think, in book 2. And it's all really fun to play. So, all right, that's me talking enough about that. All right, let's talk about your song for the week, Down in the Valley. This is a much simpler song. However, you're now in the key of C. So let's talk about key of C. We've probably talked about it a million times. I find the key of C very challenging because C chord is just never, ever going to fit into my hand very well. 2 strings up, 1st fret, that's where that one goes. 4 strings up in the 2nd fret, that's where your middle finger goes. And 5 strings up on the 3rd fret, that's where your C chord goes. You can hit the 6th string, but you'd rather not. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. And many things about my hand are wrong here, right? So let's talk about that. So if I'm doing this kind of thing, it's really going to make things harder. So make sure you're standing up. Make sure your thumb is well positioned, maybe just slightly below the midline of the neck. Okay, nice, almost claw-like shape to your fingers, right? Make sure your pinky isn't doing this deal, right? Sometimes when we play, we get tension, our pinky sticks out like that. We don't want that. Just keep it bent down and ready to play. The main reason you got to do that is there's going to come a point probably in this song when you got to do this, when you got to put this either on this fret or this fret. Right? And so that's I don't know if that, I don't remember if it comes up in this song or not, but that it will come up in the C chord a lot. So just try to keep everything nice straight. Be mindful of this should be one unit. We don't want this sort of thing going on. Nice straight here. Remember, you don't chicken wing it and don't tuck this in, right? It should just be nice and relaxed, so that if you let go of the guitar and dropped your hand, it would just fall down naturally. So that's a little bit better. Probably picking up the guitar wouldn't hurt me at all. Get it a little closer to my face. You'll notice I have a tendency, and it's a time-honored tradition, to let the bottom of my guitar, this lower bout down here, sort of sit out just a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, so that way I can see the fretboard pretty easily. It takes a lot of work in the beginning, especially like I got crazy eyes and this magnificent prescription, right? And so a lot of times it's hard for me to tell which string I'm on, but at least I have a fighting chance if I can see a little bit of the fretboard. Okay? And then the other chord we're going to go to is the G chord. Now, we have lots of choices with G chord. You will remember from Three Blind Mice. But for this one, mostly, okay, you're going to be using index, middle, ring, and pinky. Okay? That's the G chord. If you want to put on your regular G chord, index, middle, and ring, that's perfectly fine. Okay? And then some of you may find it's more easily constructed by doing middle, ring, and pinky. All those are legit. Okay? We don't have the bar chord G in this song, so we won't talk about that quite yet. Okay? All right, let's do the chords. Again, I'm going to sing. Please know that I shouldn't be doing this. 1, 2, 3. Down in the valley so low. 1, 2, 3. Hang your head over. I missed the beat. Hear the wind blow. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hear the wind blow. Love to hear the wind blow. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Lay go back to the top and sing it 3 times. Obviously, you're working on. I did the plucking to this time, but you're working on other stuff, right? One down in the valley. Right, there's that one. There's the thumb one. Down in the valley. Just keep your beats correct, and then those also work. And then arpeggio, you're in 3, so you could do down in the valley. Valley so low. So I'm just doing 3s. It's a little boring, right? So you probably would want to do 6s. One, and that's thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index. So that's 6. So all you're doing is doubling the 3, and then you'll get it. Down in the valley so low. Clearly that's not what I worked on today. So the big challenge, though, is you saw it in measure 8 and then it shows back up in measure 20, is if you're using your standard G chord and then measure 8, you're supposed to put that G7 on. Everybody has to come up, switch over, pull it back down, right, to get to your G7. And in book 2, I use both whatever the 7th chord is. Here's your main chord. Here's your 5th chord. Sometimes I'll use the 5th chord, and sometimes I'll use the 5/7. In this song, we use both. So we got G and G7. Both of those are legit 5 chords to the C. And so if I had thought about it prior to starting, I for sure would have said, hey, man, you probably really want to use this alternate G with your pinky, so that when it comes to the time to do the G7, you just have to switch pinky to index, right? Okay. And so you take your pencil and you'll above we write G7, you write tough G, right, or alternate G. Whoops, it's going to be. Let's put on my pencil. Alternate G. Right, and that just will remind me, hey, in the future when I'm playing this, if I play it with chords, after I get out of measure 6, low, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm probably going to want to put on my alternate G. Hang your head over, and then I have the G7 available to me. So that's a kind of a hard part to the song. Let's play the melody. Yeah, I see 0s, I see 1s, I see 3s. So we're going to play this all in first position. Let's give it a try from the top. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 2, 3. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Repeat. Okay? Nothing much to the melody. Now, so the problem with that is that I heard lots of times when nothing's going on. So that's why we use the tough uke. Let's give it a try. This will be your job for the week, is get this together. I'm going to play it. You're going to play as best you can, and then you'll work on it this week from the top. 1, 2, 3. don't play the top string. If you're finishing up, just don't play the full C chord. Stop on string 2, okay? Because that's the C note right there, and that just sounds a little more complete. Beautiful. So that's your job for the week, is see if you can make that nice and smooth and beautiful. I automatically, because I'm playing the tough line, am putting on my alternate G chord, middle, ring, and pinky, because I want that chord to keep ringing while I go from that melody note to that melody note. Okay, so that's a good chance to practice your alternate G chord. All right, I actually make myself a note. Alt. Done. Okay, beautiful. Down the valley. Have fun with that. That's a nice song. All right, so guys, I decided I'm just have yet to play Parting Glass Santa Lucia correctly, so I did not change those out this week. This may be the last week, but I don't know. Let's see how I play tonight. Let's go grab book 3. Parting Glass, Santa Lucia, and then we studied a little bit about Scarborough Fair last week, I think, if I remember right. If we didn't, we didn't. Well, let's just play all 3 of these. Parting Glass. Parting Glass. All right, same as last week. If I'm playing well, we'll play it 2 times through. If I'm playing poorly, we'll play it 3 times through. Let's hope we can get it this time. It's been a struggle. From the top. 1, 2, 3. Bar chord on the end there. Let's play it really, really slow. So it would really be 7, 9, 7, 7, 7 from the bottom. 7, 9, 7, 9, 9, 7, 7, 7. So you're putting a full bar on 7, gunk, and then an E minor shape in front. Yeah, really slow. Wait, so it's a B minor. You could do this one. Let's do that one. 12 on 12 harmonic. 12. All right, that would be cool. Let's see that. Maybe not. You have to pull the whole bar off to do it. Never mind. That's a cool idea. Don't do that. All right, so there's that. That's beautiful, right? If you ended up just learning that song, like nothing else, just spent 6 months on that song, you'd be all right. That's a good song. All right. Parting Glass is done for a while. Santa Lucia. Now, in my head, I played this poorly last week, so that means I probably really mucked it up. So let's see if we can make it good today. All right. Can't quite keep up with you playing Parting Glass, but on the parts you can. Yeah, so one, when we're playing tough acts, if I'm playing too fast, you can yell at me and slow me down, right? But don't try to play it at any particular speed. Much better to get it slow and correct than to play it all messed up, right? So if I'm playing too fast, just jump up to melody, right? Make sure you know what's going on. Then at home, it's perfectly fine. Let me show you how if I was starting this song, this is about the speed I'd play it. Slow, even slower if you have to. There's no rule that you have to play it at any particular speed, and it's much better, I think. I think everybody, I think music people would all back me up on this. If you can play it perfectly at a quarter tempo, like the slowest possible thing, even if your notes aren't exactly in perfect timing, if you can make sure your hand is in perfect shape and you teach it good behaviors early on, then as you start to speed it up, you're much less likely to be madly scrambling and grabbing for things. I am still madly scrambling for the B minor with the 7 on it. Where is it? Here. I'm sorry, with the 5 underneath it. Right? Because for some reason I have it in my head that this looks different, and it's just a plain old B minor in here. So what I need to do is go untrain my stupid head, right? When I get to measure 7, I just need to hit this open B minor, slide this back and get the B minor back on. Right, that's all I have to do, but because I haven't practiced it well, I keep getting there, I'm like, oh gosh, and I just start madly grabbing for stuff. And so I think talk yourself into playing incredibly slow and incredibly carefully in the beginning, so that then as you're speeding it up, you will be in much better shape. Also, Tough Acts is not meant to be played as an ensemble experience. It's really not. It's meant to be played as a solo experience. We play it together here because you want to test your metal and you want to say, hey man, can I play better than Gary? Probably, right? But we play the Tough Acts together so that you can make sure that you have a general sense of what it's supposed to sound like, and that you're managing to get it. Who cares how I play? The key is, when we play Tough Acts together, that's an incredibly hard thing to do, especially book 3 and above. It's really challenging because I'll be putting some notes will be quarter note, and I may make them a tiny bit longer, a tiny bit shorter, and you're allowed to do that when you're playing solo. when we're playing an ensemble, that can be a little bit difficult. So yeah, but heck yeah, jump down, grab one of the parts, and play along with me until you feel like you can do that. And then when you're really ready to get this piece on, when you're like, you know what, I got parting glass, I can totally play that. That's where you bring in your the old cell phone, right? Press record on it. You do not have to look at the recording. You do not have to share the recording. If you want to share it with me, I love that when you do it, but you don't have to. Get it on your phone, stick it in there in a file somewhere, either on your phone or on your computer. Don't look at it. 6 months from now, look at it and see how you were doing back in the old you used to play guitar. And Linda says, I can barely manage just the melody, but I still love the song. Yeah, again, right? We're playing a very complicated song here, and probably if I was on the other side of the camera, I was sitting out with you, and some dude was playing this ring, I would totally be playing the chords probably. Da da bum 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 da da dum 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 da da dum dum da 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 dum dum dum. I mean, how cool is that, right? And so I'd be having fun. Better at a much slower speed. Yeah. And don't ever think you're like a bad person for that. I mean, I've watched some of our very advanced players working on this. Ethan comes to mind. He plays all this crazy wacky stuff that's really, really amazing. But when I watch him starting off, man, I mean, it is painfully slow because he's thinking, no, I got to train my hands to get in the right position from the beginning. If I can train them to get in the right position from the beginning, then I don't got to retrain them later on, right? He's very mindful and thoughtful about every motion. All right, good. Santa Lucia. How about I play Santa Lucia at a little bit slower speed? You guys, this is quite a bit easier song, so we should be able to play it a little bit slower speed, and it'll sound great. We ran through the chords last week. I'm just going to play the tough acts because we have a lot to finish up here. So, G chord with your ring on the second string. Be ready to put your pinky down on the first string, probably. Okay? And this is supposed to be slow and romantic and beautiful. Before we play guitar, let's get in the right headspace. We'll play it slow. We'll play it beautiful. We're in one of those things in Venice, gondola, I think they call them, the boat with the stick. We're in that. The moon is out, okay, and the waves are very gentle. That's where we're at, okay. And for some reason you brought a guitar along. That's weird. You shouldn't have done that. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3. How about that? That's a good song. I do think Measure 31 is the whole song. No, right there, the whole entire thing. If you can get that clean, you're in really great shape. And I don't know if I talked about it last week, but Measure 31, you got that high D7 on here. Little vibrato on that high 7. It's the only time you hit that note. Well, no, that's not true. You hit it other places, but that's the most important place you hit that note. Santa. And then just wiggle that. Okay? And then come down. Right, just let it, just really just overdo that one underneath that fermata. And oh my goodness. Alright, good. It's my goal to play faster like you do. Well, it's my goal to play faster too. It's the goal of all of us to play faster. Yeah, right? So the way you play faster, this always sounds so stupid when I say this, but the way to play faster is the way to learn to play faster is to play slower. The reason that is true is that you've got to get your hand motions correct in order to play fast. And when you're playing fast, it means that your hands are confident. Boom, they're here. Your right hand, boom, it's exactly where it needs to be when it's supposed to be there. And it's just one of those things where we're always like rushing and rushing and rushing and rushing. We got to go from this song to that song, this next song, whatever. And then we turn ourselves into crazy people. Take your time to go crazy slow, and then you will probably be much more successful. Yeah, I think it's Dean Martin that's the one who's famous for it. I don't remember for sure. Was it Arnaz? Desi Arnaz. A-R-N-A-S. Arnaz? Desi Arnaz. Was it a Z? It might be a Z. Desilu. Desilu Arnaz. I think it's Arnaz. A-R-N-A. Let's say V. You type V. I don't know. Nav. I don't know. Desi Arnaz. A-R-N. Easy, maybe? I don't know. We could. There's a thing called Google. We could check. All right, let's play Scarborough Fair. This is books. There's a lot we're doing tonight, so hopefully you're okay with that. Okay, remember Scarborough Fair. Lissy, and Doozy. Yeah. Scarborough Fair is purposely arranged super low on your guitar to give you a chance to get the melody out still above all these big sounds, right? And so many years ago I arranged this and I thought this would be very important for them to learn. And then over the years I've been like, you should raise that up. It's too low. And then I get to it and I start teaching and I'm like, no, this is an important lesson. People need to know how to do this. Okay? So let's make, and remember Measure 13, eventually I got to update this piece of paper, but Measure 13, let's add in an extra beat because Simon and Garfunkel did, and it does sound better that way. Okay? Nice and slow. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's nice. All right. So next week we'll learn a new song. Let me just peek and see what the next song is. I don't even remember. But which song do you want to carry over? So we can carry over Santa Lucia, Parting Glass, or Scarborough Fair. Now we should carry over Scarborough Fair because that's the newest one of them. And then next week we will start on This Little Light of Mine, which is pretty kicky song. So we can vote for Scarborough Fair, Santa Lucia, or Parting Glass for our carryover. And so while you are thinking about that, I'm going to pull up a couple of our classical songs. I was afraid we would end up going long today, so I don't want to do a ton of classical music, guys, but I want to do a few. Let's say 2. Lucia, okay. Everybody cool with Santa Lucia carryover? I loved it. I love that song. There's no song in book 3. To be honest, every single song in book 3 that I have gotten where I don't like, I just get rid of them. I just take them out. I put them in book 4. What I do, because I want book 3. I would like book 3 to be the book that's like, if you memorize that whole book, you could just play concerts for anybody, anywhere, anytime. They would know the songs. They would love the songs. They sound beautiful. Every single song in book 3 I adore, and so hopefully you have a similar reaction to it. All right, so we have Parting Glass versus Santa Lucia, and neither of you are. So Sandy, are you out there? You're the tiebreaker. If you pick Scarborough Fair, we're doomed. All right, let's go grab what are we working on today? I was playing them yesterday. I played a whole bunch of them yesterday. It was really fun. The Bagatelle from book 0 of our thing. This is actually kind of a cool sounding weird thing. Plus, we get to do a harmonic on it. All right. Scarborough is the easiest of the 3. Yeah, that's true. All right. In a minute, I'll flip a coin. Sandy must be taking care of the cat. All right. I don't know if she has a cat. Do people in Minnesota have cats? I think the birds would get them. All right. Bagatelle. Although one time Linda sent me a video of a bear in the park next to her house. You're like, wow. All right. So remember with this one, I would grab my D chord and just lift up my index finger. Okay? And I think that's probably the easiest way to play that weird little chord there. And so our goal, pretty much, just try not to move around too much. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3. Now, I want you to think about it just for a minute. Why in the world 12 on 4? Now, why do I know that's going to sound great? Because if you think about it, you're really playing this whole song in the key of D. Okay, here's your D chord. Okay, you're just doing this weird string on top. It's the wrong string. And then you're also lifting this up. So you're just getting this very weirdo view of this D chord, right? Because normally we play a D chord and from the here down. But to make it classical, make it kind of cool, turn this chord, turn this string, which is normally, what is it normally? G, A, right? But now it's going to be a G, and there's going to be an E, so we got these notes that don't belong. That's how you get that cool sound. But you're really, the whole overall song is bumping around, hanging around in this D feeling, and then so when you get to the last note, that D string with the harmonic on 12, that's going to be a D harmonic, and you know it's going to sound great. Isn't that fun? That's a cool piece. All right, let's see. Sandy says, I remember playing Scarborough Fair on the ukulele. Took me months to get it. Well, it's the hardest song on ukulele out of book one, Sandy. So yeah, it's pretty challenging. All right, Sandy, we're putting you on the spot. Do you want to play Parting Glass or Santa Lucia this coming week? Actually, you know what? We've been playing Parting Glass a long time. You keep working on that on your own. Let's play Santa Lucia. Let's make that our carryover. We'll carry Santa Lucia over just because we've had Parting Glass a few weeks, and then so it'll be Santa Lucia for the following week, and then this little light of mine. And then to wrap it up tonight, let's play Lesson 61 by Sagreras. Okay, this will be our swan song tonight. And again, guys, those of you who are in book 1, book 2, book 3, you can always sneak out after this. You really have to have your tough uke skills in place to handle this stuff, because I don't put a melody line on here because in classical music it's not always that clear where the melody line is, and so however, you can definitely always, if you're in book 1, 2, or 3, you can always be just adding, oh, this song's got chords, I'll back them up with chords, right? All right, let's see how we do. This is quite a bit harder song. And a lot of stuff Sagreras writes sounds like a carnival, and I love it. Okay, I'm a big Sagreras fan, so let's see how we do on this. Not near that fast. Okay, it's supposed to be that fast. All right, but don't go that fast. Okay, and the thing I can figure out here is when you go dum dum dum. It's you start with the C chord. Bring your index finger up to get the 2 on the next measure, because it's just gonna, that index finger is really handy there, and even you'll see up in the standard notation that the note says 1 next to it. That means use your index finger. I found that pretty handy yesterday to do that. All right, let's hope I can do this one. Okay, from the top, very slow. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I messed up a few notes there in the later staves. Gets a little messy toward the end. I find Sagreras has a tendency to do that. Things are going along great, and you're like, hey man, I can totally play this stuff. And then at the bottom, he's like, oh, and by the way, right in the face. All right, that's beautiful. All right, so here's what I think. Let me double check, because I think I'm going to tell you, I don't think I'm going to tell you a lie. So we just finished lesson 61. And I believe we only have the 3 songs left. Lesson 61. So Nino, Ukrainian Melody, and Lesson 48 are what's left in the book. Nino is actually really fun. It looks so weird on the page, but it's fun. The Ukrainian Melody is a tiny bit of a disappointment. You want it to be awesome because of all of what's going on, but it's not the greatest song. And then Lesson 48 is not Sagreras' best work. It's sort of a study. So we'll knock those 3 out next week. And then we will have played through Book 0 twice. And that should feel pretty good. And that means you can go back through now and take a look at, on the website, I listed mine that were my favorites. I highlighted them in orange. And we're going to start digging into Book 1. Now, we won't do Book 1 in order. I'm just going to hunt and peck and find stuff that is kind of fun. And the book, they've done a pretty good job of leveling stuff, but it's impossible to get it perfect. But so everything in Book 1 should be on a similar level. And it's not that much of a jump up from Book 0. So we won't do everything in order, because if we do everything in order, you get all this, Baroque music right off the bat, and it's like, oh, that's too much, So I'll be looking for a lot of the middle ground stuff, the romantic and the classical composers, mostly romantic, and then we'll toss in the modern ones as we can stand them, and then I'll try to grab some of those studies at the end and put them up into our sort of going on. Also, each week we'll have a Book 0 and a Book 1, right? And we'll just see how quickly I can get these typed up and posted. So, so I've got a few out of Book 1 already posted that are there's 3 that are just amazing pieces of music. So, anyway, we'll finish up Book 0 next week, and then we'll start the whole new program, adding in Book 1 and revisiting Book 0. For anybody new who might be coming in, and I think that's it. I think that's going to be it. All right. So Lucia is our carryover, and then we'll look at this little light of mine next week, and then we will wrap up the classical Book 0. That should feel super good. There's 38 songs in Book 0, and we've played them all twice. So they're hard, And of course Book 3, and then what you're doing in orchestra. It's pretty amazing, guys, what you're doing. I'm proud of us, I think. All right. Have a great night, you guys. Thanks. Have a great evening. Peace.